All right, so that's number one. Number two is tools and tech mastery. So our goal is to equip our EVAs with the tech skills to help clients optimize the use of tech in their business. Now, there's two things to start with here. The first is that most clients don't know as much about technology as you do, especially if you're younger. If you're under 30 and you're working with a client who's over 30, you probably know more about TikTok than they do. You probably know more about video editing than they do. You probably know more about how to set up things on social media, how to use new apps, how to figure out the best way to learn something. Most people that are older, when they want to learn something, they look for websites, they do Google searches. Most people under 30, when you want to learn something, you go to YouTube, right? And there's a difference there that I think translates to where a EVA really can add a lot of value to a small business owner because of their ability to use technology. So you want to develop expertise. You want to dive deep into a suite of digital tools commonly used by American entrepreneurs like Slack and Trello and Google Workspace and Zoom. The more you know about these things, the better. But you don't have to be an expert on each one of them. You just have to know where to go to get answers. Like I know most people nowadays, when they take on a new app, like, oh, I need to learn how to use Trello because my client uses Trello. You go to YouTube and you say, look for videos on how to use Trello, and you find hundreds of experts sharing with you how to use Trello. And that's the best way to go about it, right? So that way you can kind of always be the master of everything without ever actually having to study everything thoroughly. You just learn what you have to learn. You learn what you have to learn when you have to learn it. The other thing is because you're going to be more tech savvy than most of your clients, you want to solve tech problems, right? So you're going to spend a lot of time doing tech support stuff. Like I can't believe, I mean, I'm in my 50s and I'm pretty tech savvy, but I'm unlike most of my peers. Most of the people that are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s that are small business owners that are looking to hire VAs, they struggle with things. Like I have some clients that, believe it or not, cannot figure out how to load a document into Dropbox. It's like the moon to them. They have trouble figuring out how to consistently stay logged into their social media. They have no idea how to do things like post on your IG and then auto post to your Facebook. They don't know how to set up a business page. They don't know how, there's so many things that seem so basic that they need help with. So this is the area where you can really make a big difference. You can excel. Because if you have the good communication skills, you can learn all the tech stuff you need. You don't have to be the best video editor in the world. You just have to know enough about video editing to know how to get things done for the client. So if you're able to really lean into this tools and tech mastery, you'll find that you have some areas that are your strongest suits. And I mentioned before, when there's things that you can't do or you don't do well, then you delegate those, right? So you don't have to do everything yourself either. The client is hiring you, so they don't have to do everything. And then at some point, you may have to ask them to hire somebody, or maybe you hire someone, or somebody who can help you fill in some of the gaps when it comes to your ability to do certain things. Like I can edit videos, but I'm not good at it. So I hire someone to do it. I can manage my LinkedIn, but it's time consuming. So I hire someone like Nick to manage my LinkedIn account. So that's really, how we can use technology as an entrepreneur best, by turning most of it over to a virtual assistant. The last thing I'll say here is I talk to clients about, outsource your learning, right? As a small business owner, I don't have to know how to use CapCut. I don't need to know how to go viral on TikTok. I just need to know how I can assign that work to somebody who can figure out how to use CapCut and make some videos that will go viral on TikTok. And that's really the key. All right, so the other thing that I want to talk about when it comes to tech is that you have to be the one to embrace it. EVAs are generally expected to have a good grasp of common technology tools and platforms relevant to their role, right? So when you submit your resume, it should be tech heavy, right? You should demonstrate the things you've been using either in school or in your previous work experience or as a VA to be able to do things on a technology perspective. This includes familiarity with productive software, communication platforms, task management tools, troubleshooting skills, right? And you all have them because I know most of you have had smartphones most of your life. If you're given a tablet or a smartphone, you're going to figure out how to use it. That's not true of people that were not born in a world with smartphones. So embrace this skill set that you're blessed with. An EVA can assist a new client in optimizing their tech usage by first conducting an audit of the existing tech stack, right? So figure out what they want to do, figure out if they have the right things in place. And if they don't, then suggest them. Like if they're trying to do all their lead generation and tracking stuff on a Google sheet, and that works for now, what comes next? Do you need to at some point have them invest in a CRM, a customer relationship management tool? Do you, instead of trying to do manual emails, do you need to invest in MailChimp? Instead of trying to organize everything in on a Word document or a Google document, should you invest in Trello so you can use the different types of Post-its to be able to track projects and track deliverables? These are the kind of things that, again, you can help them assess their current tech solutions and suggest new ones. Now, some will say you have to know this because they've invested in it, they know it. A lot of times you'll find clients that have invested in things like Kajabi or ClickFunnels or any number of technology solutions that they were told by somebody, buy this and it'll do everything for you. Then they find out it's way more cumbersome and complicated than they thought it was going to be, and they want to delegate it to a VA. They don't ever want to learn how ClickFunnels works. They don't want to know. They just know they need a funnel. So they're going to hire you. One of your jobs as their executive virtual assistant is to set up and manage their ClickFunnels or some other app like that. And based on this analysis of when you start to know what they're doing and how they're doing it, you can recommend updated tools, tailor specific solutions to them. Like a lot of clients want to create videos, but what kind of videos? What are they trying to do? You can help them understand where their audience is at, right? So should they be doing long videos on YouTube? Should they be doing, 30-second shorts on TikTok? You, again, will be able to help them by embracing technology, right? Lean into what is one of the natural strengths of Filipino virtual VAs, virtual assistants. The Philippines is the social media capital of the world. There are more Filipinos that are on social media than percentage-wise any other country's population. The adoption of Facebook, everybody's Lola has Facebook in the Philippines, right? So everyone knows how to use the free Facebook, if nothing else. So it's a very tech-savvy population. So that's a gift, I think, the Philippines can give the world, especially middle-aged American entrepreneurs. All right, so that's technology. Let's go on to number 3, understanding entrepreneurial needs. Our goal here is to empower our EVAs with a business mindset that doesn't feel robotic, passive, or reactive to the client. So reflect on that for a second. Robotic, passive, or reactive. This is a challenge because a lot of Filipinos that come out of the call center industry or are recent graduates from high school or college, they look for jobs with structure, jobs with routine, jobs with SOPs, with team leads, with quality programs, with onboarding programs, with extensive training. None of that exists when you're an executive virtual assistant. You have to be the opposite. You have to take the initiative. You have to be aggressive and assertive. You have to be proactive. If you can do this, you'll be successful. And this is, again, what my most successful EVAs that I've worked with, and I've had several. Just so you know, my first EVA is very successful, working for a company doing a lot of management. My second EVA is a business partner of mine, and she manages all our video editing graphic designers. My third EVA is extremely successful insurance agent seller. My fourth EVA is another business partner of mine, and she is a digital nomad and lives a lifestyle that most of you probably would, be amazed by. And she's only 23 or just turned 24. So EVAs that work for Sonic VA that have been mine are top. And my current EVA, who just started a couple of weeks ago, is on that same path. So we expect a lot out of EVAs, and it's because I teach them, I empower them to understand the business mindset. Why do we do what we do as entrepreneurs? As an EVA, you want to feel their pain. You got to have empathy. You have to highlight the challenges faced by first-time entrepreneurs and help prioritize tasks, financial management, scaling strategies. Again, if you're looking for someone who already's got it all figured out, then this is not the job for you. You want to be looking for somebody who you can help figure it out, who's looking for you to provide a lot of the initiative and the direction, because they need that. They're good at something. Like I was good as a business analyst. But to do things like social media and appointment setting and lead generation, to do my own sales and marketing, to be able to book and schedule conferences and events, to do trainings, I needed somebody else who had skill sets in those areas. And that's what when I hired my first EVA, that's what we looked for. So somebody that can help prioritize tasks, manage their money, in a sense like they're generating revenue and scaling, plan to grow. These things are really important, and you only can really be good at them if you feel it. You have to take the mindset that their success is your success. One of the biggest challenges a lot of Filipino virtual assistants have is high turnover in clients, because people need to work. And so they take whatever job is available to them. It's very competitive. There are a lot of Filipino VAs out there. It's really competitive to find jobs. For every posting we put on Online Jobs PH, so if Sonic VA posts something on Online Jobs PH, within an hour or two, we're going to get 100 applicants. And probably before 24 hours, we're going to hit 200 applicants. And once we hit 200 applicants, then it shuts off. We can't recruit more for that position on that posting. So we have 200 applicants, all qualified Filipino virtual assistants. So we go through and trying to figure out who are the best ones. Who are the ones that fit our criteria? Who are the ones that submitted their really good resumes with good portfolios? Who have the right skill sets, the right technology assets we need? And that starts to weed out people. But we go from 200 to get down to maybe 20 that we do first round interviews for, and probably 5 that we do final interviews for. So that's like 2% of the ones that apply get to the final round. It's hyper competitive. So if finding clients is hard and it's hyper competitive to find clients, then you really want to value the fact that when they're successful, that's how you become successful. So a VA who sits and waits for things, a VA who just does the minimum just to get it done, to get their paycheck, they're going to be looking for their client against him, because the client's going to fail because the VA is not going above and beyond. They're not acting like an EVA. A VA does certain tasks. An EVA doesn't just do the tasks. They have to really believe in the tasks. They have to have a passion for those tasks, because if you don't, your business is going to fail. And if your business fails, then you're out of work. So we train VAs to anticipate these needs, offer proactive solutions, and act as a pivotal support system during the early stages of a business venture, right? So again, we're looking for EVAs, people that can do this job now or do it soon, to match up with these American business owners who really need somebody who's a go-getter, somebody who can, hit the ground running, somebody who likes to work in a high, fast-paced environment. If that's you, you're in the right place. So understanding entrepreneurial needs. The other key thing here is that I want you to think about empathy matters. An EVA, through genuine empathy, can attune to a client's emotions and needs, enabling them to provide tailored support during challenging times, anticipate requirements, and offer proactive solutions. Again, you hear me say the same things over and over again, right? So I'm starting to repeat myself a bit because it's that simple, right? You have to be this kind of mindset to be successful as an EVA. There's no successful EVAs who just kind of sit around. The ones that are really, really effective, the ones that keep the clients, the ones that are working with successful clients, have an emotional understanding that fosters a trusting relationship. It ensures effective communication, creates a collaborative environment where the client feels understood, supported, and ultimately driving their success. So one of the ways to do this is through a feedback loop. So you want to have set on a feedback loop. Look this up, Google it, YouTube it. If you don't really understand it very well, make sure that when you start with a new client, you're understanding the feedback loop. Now, again, if you're working with Sonic VA, we put this in there. I check in with the clients. I have regular conversation with the clients. I act as an account manager with clients when they first get onboarded. So we're establishing that feedback loop. We have check-in calls every once in a while. I'm always able to get on a 3-way Zoom call and do some kind of troubleshooting. But for successful EVAs, you're able to do this because part of your nature, right? A feedback loop is where you're having regular check-ins, you're doing reporting, you're asking for feedback and they're giving it, you're incorporating that, you're demonstrating how you're applying that feedback, you're showing return on investment, you're showing growth, you're showing success. These are all things that happen when empathy really matters. It won't always mean you're successful, because even no matter how empathetic you are, some clients will fail. But more often than not, if you're able to do this with a client, this is the key to success, right? You're not just on the same page, you're not just in sync, you're actually really going the same direction, and you're doing it in partnership. I always say with a small business owner who's an entrepreneur setting up a new business, they need to find their right hand. They need to find that person that they can count on to do a little bit of everything to help them grow. And I've been successful for 13 years as an entrepreneur because I've had a string of successful EVAs, right? Most of my EVAs come and go because I always want them to go on and do bigger, better things. I don't want people that work for me that want to work for me in the same job for 10 years. I want somebody who's going to work for me for a year or two, learn a lot of stuff, and then go on and do things bigger and better. And I've been successful at doing that. So if you're one of our EVAs, you will join a long line of very successful virtual assistants who specialize in being executive virtual assistants for American small business clients. So number 4, the last topic that we'll talk about tonight in detail is social media mastery. Our goal is to educate our EVAs in the Sonic VA way. This is a methodology for social media management and marketing, or marketing and management. So you got to create content. You have to have a strategy on how that content should be shared. You have to do engagement that gets people looking at and engaging with whatever content is created and however it's shared. And then you have to have follow-up. You have to make sure that you're doing things to be able to not just share stuff, but that and people engage with it, and then you do follow-up that leads to sales. If your social media doesn't have a good ROI, if you can't tie a good return on investment to social media spend, it doesn't last long. Clients right now, especially right now in the tail end of 2023, are skeptical of hiring VAs to manage social media because they've been doing it and they're not seeing the results they thought. I don't think it's necessarily the VA's fault. I think it's the way we consume social media is evolving. There's so much content. There's just too much content. Everyone's creating so much content every day. How do you keep up? How do you make your business stand out? How do you cut through the noise? Well, I say that the best way to do that is to work with a VA who's really able to understand social media. And I don't mean like, oh, this will be a cool post or make a calendar of things to post the next month. I mean somebody who really starts to pay attention to the trends and to what's working and evolves constantly. What worked 6 months ago is not working now and will definitely not work 6 months from now. If you think about social media in the last several years, it's evolved pretty consistently, right? So right now, TikTok is the flavor of the moment, right? Before it was IG, YouTube, Facebook. They've all had their moment in the sun. Something's coming next. I don't know what it is, but something's coming next. Twitter was big. Twitter's kind of fallen. Now it's called X. Facebook launched Threads, blew up. I'm not sure where it's going to go. There's always something new, right? So being able to stay on top of social media, having a methodology where you do the things you need to do, the content creation, the strategizing, the engagement, and the follow-up, and then always keeping it current. So you're not doing the same thing over and over again forever and losing, people lose interest in you. This is important. So the things we look for with our EVAs when it comes to social media is, can they build consistency? Do you have the ability to make a calendar and to engage off that calendar and to do follow-up off that calendar? Does that calendar drop content that's being consumed? And when you find that some of your content that you're dropping is not being consumed, are you quick to replace it with something else? And are you completely into the metrics? Do you understand what's working and what's not working? A lot of VAs don't do this. Every social media tool or platform, IG, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, they have analytics, they have insights. Most VAs post stuff every day and don't look at the insights. And this is where the VAs that are not successful, that are always looking for clients, live. They just do the minimums. But the EVAs, the successful VAs that are not always looking for clients, they know the metrics, right? They know how many people they're trying to add each week. They know what kind of followers they want. They know what kind of engagement they need. They know their target market. This is the kind of thing that you need to do to understand your client's brand. And you want to build consistency with that brand. You want to familiarize yourself with the latest trends and best practices for content creation, engagement techniques, links interpretation, and brand consistency. Most small business owners that we work with, most American first-time entrepreneurs, their face is their brand. They do something that they do really well. They're really, really good at project management or risk management. They're really good at audit. They're really good at quality control. They're really good at doing something that they want to translate into a business. And for you able to get that face out there, to get their expertise out there, they have to talk, they have to share, they have to write, they have to communicate what's up here to their audience. And that has to be consistent, it has to be engaging, it has to be something that's data driven, and then they have a brand. Right. So for me, my most important social media tools really are my YouTube channel, because that's where I talk about things like this that my clients or future clients can look at and say, oh, yeah, Dan's pretty smart. He knows what he's talking about. I trust him when it comes to VAs because I watch his videos. They're really good. And then I look at things like I drive a lot of business through Facebook because I'm involved in several Facebook groups that are run by influencers that constantly refer business to us. So I know where to spend my time. And that's where I have my VAs working, right? I have a VA who manages my YouTube. I have a VA that manages my Facebook groups. All I do is record raw video, and they take care of the rest. And that's really what we want to be able to teach you to do is based on what your client needs to help them build that consistency. And the final piece is that you're the front line. As the VA, especially the EVA, you're the one talking to customers, either working as the client, logging into their accounts, or being the voice of the client because they say, hey, I have an assistant. You're sending out emails, you're doing DMs, maybe even sometimes you're doing, Zoom calls or Skype calls or whatever. Discuss customer service management, how to handle negative feedback online, ensuring VAs can confidently support the entrepreneur's online reputation, right? So your goal is to always make your client look good. Your goal is to make your client successful, because if your client's successful, then you're successful, because then you don't have to go look for another client. So you're the front line. You're the one that built consistency. You do this through social media mastery. The Sonic VA way, our methodology of how we want you as a VA to go out there and think about content creation, to think about strategic posting, to think about engagement, and to think about the follow-up is what we expect. So hopefully that's good stuff for you. That's almost done. So one of the most important, probably the most important thing that a VA has to constantly remind himself is the money's in the follow-up, right? If you want your client to be successful, they got to make money. And they're making money because you're converting interest into sales. You're doing something besides just posting. You're posting and engaging and influencing in a way that drives people to sign up for something, subscribe to something, buy something, whatever is your client selling or offering. So you want to harness social media to boost a client's profits by conducting market research to make sure they have the right offerings. What's the competition doing? What's the average price? Say, for example, you work for a client who's a health coach and they sell a recipe book. What's the typical recipe book going for right now? What are other people doing? What are influencers doing that are successful with their recipe books? What are the recipes that are kind of current? So you all of a sudden have to become an expert in their field. Even though you're supporting them, you got to know what they're doing enough to help them, right? So you got to be able to tailor offerings. Again, the client should be doing this. And as they get established, they'll do more and more of it. But if we're talking about new entrepreneurs, first-time entrepreneurs, they're going to need help. This is why we offer the EVA to this population. To people that know what they need, that are successful and just need someone to do some of the work, they can hire a VA. But if you're a new entrepreneur and you want to ensure your success, you want to give yourself a much better chance of surviving that first couple of years, you need an EVA, because the EVA is like a VA plus, right? The EVA is empowering, is it enabled, can really do things based on empathy. And that's really the difference. So money is in the follow-up, right? So you got to help the customers, or you got to help your clients make money. And for this follow-up is crucial. You got to have a follow-up process. You got to have a tracking sheet. Say, we talked to this person, we'll talk to him again next week. This person said not now, maybe a month from now. You got to look at who they are and who their friends are. You look for the influencers in whatever industry your client works in, and you look and see who's following them. And you look to kind of, in a sense, pirate that influencer's traffic. Figure out what they're doing and mimic it, or get involved in their conversations, be in their circle. Not just influencers, but also brands, trying to figure out what people love right now. Like, if your client is into trying to look young, like they have like a collagen product for, to have good skin, healthy skin. Who are influencers in that space right now, right? It was the Kardashians and it was the Jenners. Who is it now? who are the people that are really the forefront of selling, healthy skin to American business owners? I don't know. That's something you have to figure out as an EVA working for your client. And then once you figure out these influencers and these brands, you can do things like, doing promotions, monitoring their analytics, looking for strategies, sharing content to get their attention, trying to even partner with them. Really, the EVA can amplify the brand's online presence, driving traffic and increasing sales. So an EVA has to do all this stuff, right? It's not just one or two things. And you don't have to do them all right away. You don't have to do them all perfectly, but you want to be able to really see where you fit in this. And if you have the potential and the interest to be an EVA, working with Sonic VA, that's what we want to talk about. So thank you for being here this afternoon. I know it's now afternoon in the Philippines and just after 9 p.m. in the US. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it. For those of you that are watching on YouTube, thank you for being here. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I hope each and every one of you get out there and have a great day ahead.